Recording. I think we're in business. Let me just move this. Okay, so let's get started. Is everyone okay to get started? So I see some of you already have windows in your building. I'm gonna just throw in a couple. Does anyone have trouble throwing in their windows, or do you want me to demonstrate how to do that? If we can skip that part, we get to move a bit faster. So windows, doors, everyone, who would like to insert any other openings into the walls? So I'll just throw in a couple so that I can show you how to modify sizes of windows and heights.
Number by number is usually base times height, right? That's a very large window, I must say.
So 2 meters is not the width.
Yeah, 2 meters is the width, I guess.
If you
So then,
I made 2 meters width, otherwise the distance of the window is
yeah, I know. And did you see the door goes full floor to ceiling?
Oh.
Like it's ridiculous.
Okay, we made 2 meters width because this was
The door has a specific measurement though of 2.2. Yeah. Also, who the fuck just has a square door that is 2.2 meters in both directions? What use is that?
You need to move 2 fridges through it simultaneously.
And 2 of those doors.
4 fridges.
It's like if it was a truck loading dock, that'd be one thing. But like it's
Yeah.
ground level.
That's a fair point.
There's also only 2 windows, sir.
So yeah, I'm not sure what you guys have in your layout, so I'm just throwing
It
random.
says, at your discretion, provide 2 windows, 2 meters by 1.6 meters on the east and west side.
do you have a dock?
Uh,
I mean should be above the ceiling to show you.
it doesn't like on top of this. Does it
Yeah.
need to be that? Because this place is just a wall of a fan. You don't really need that.
I made like there's 1 window.
Yeah, but we have to post somewhere. No, yeah, I get that, but like at the same time, we don't need ducks in it, really. Do we like need a duck? Do we?
Yeah.
That's the requirement, we need a duck.
Duct, yes. So I think we will hang that at the end. Sorry, you said duct, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we would hang it off of the bottom of the joists. So we would buy some kind of, we would load some kind of metal hanging, some kind of strapping or something like that, and hang the duct every few meters that it needs to be hung under the joist. But I don't think there's any other room to place it. You can't place it above the joist because your roof is there, and placing it between the joists is fine for any runs going the short way through the building, but you're gonna need to deliver air lengthwise through
I
the
don't
building.
think you meant like the dock like a pipe, just take a cut.
Oh, he just wants an opening. So would
Yeah.
you like me to show you how to put an opening into the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know how to do that.
You know how to do it?
But like,
I made a window this side. Kind of small. I think it's more.
Sounds good. If you want, just for
I don't think we actually need like a duck. I'm pretty sure it's just the opening. Like,
So-
I'm pretty sure we can just like shove a hole, shove a fan.
Okay,
That's
just
accidental.
make something. Give us a section.
So to cut an opening into a wall, I'm just gonna go to an elevation here. East elevation, doesn't really matter which one. I'm gonna select the wall, and then you have an option here to say edit profile, and then it'll show you just the outline of the wall. I'm gonna go to fat line so you can see the pink. It didn't give me much. Let me try a lower level of detail. Nothing. Okay, can you see the pink line? I think you can. So now I can take a rectangle and simply outline whatever size I want. I'm going to do 1.4 by 700 millimeters. Hit the check mark, and now I have a cut in my wall. So you can easily do that anytime you want any shape. You can edit it later just by clicking it. So that's how you can do that. I know we have a lot of time, but I just don't want to be caught at the end where we can't get it done. So should we move on? Are we okay with openings, doors, windows, and other stuff? Okay. So then let's progress right away to the wall section. Okay. So we're going to focus on doing. Let me open it up here. Okay, there we go. So we want to get this part done. And so the first step I'm going to do is go to my drawing. I'm gonna go to my sections, building section, and it's this part of the wall that we want to do. Now let's say this is gone. I'm going to delete it. That's okay, delete this. And now I want to make a section out of this part. So I need to do a call out here. That'll give me a little bit more detail of that part of the building. So what I'll do is I'll go to, I think it's under view. So right next to section, there's a button called call out. I'm gonna hit the little arrow under it, get a rectangle, and just outline what I would like in my detail, or in my wall section. As soon as I do that, it makes in here, down in the under section, I get another tab. I can double click it, and I get my wall section. Once I'm in here, I can go to fine level of detail, thin lines, all that good stuff. I'm going to extend my datum lines a little bit just so they're not overlapping. And otherwise, this gives us a pretty good start for modeling the rest of it. So let's start. I think we should start at the footing. Okay, whoa, that's too much. Sorry, there's a bit of lag on this computer. Not what I wanted. Here we go. Yes. Okay, let's go back to Revit. I'm gonna switch to hidden line now, so it looks more like the drawing we're trying to create. And so let's just start really easy. Down here we've got a bent line which represents a rebar, so let's just try adding that first. So I'm going to go to annotate. Most of what we're doing now will be in annotate. I'm going to go to detail line, and this is like a mini version of AutoCAD in Revit. And so basically here I can click a line. Here I can say what kind of line I want. Thin line, I think I want a medium. Is it a wide line? I don't know. You know what, let's take the thin line for now. And I'm just gonna draw it from here to here. And that's it. I should be able to give it a fillet of some kind. Trim, extend to corner. Okay, we can come back and work that detail out later. There is a fillet, there is an arc or a fillet we can do to bend this, but in the interest of getting everything complete this class, we'll do what needs to be done, then we can go back and add details later. So we have our rebar line in there, and now I need to point to it and say 2-15M continuous typical. So I'm going to go to here, I'm going to go to annotate text. I'll grab the text with an elbow, so it's the second, the top one is just text, the second one gives me a a leader with an elbow, and here I can point on that, come out, come to here and say 2-15M, something typical, continuous typical.
I don't think it's a rebar size.
That's not a rebar?
It's a like metal pipe going inside the tube.
Holy smokes, sorry.
I guess computers making buildings.
Sorry, can you say the comment again?
It's just like in the wall section, if you open it from the middle,
Yes.
there's like two metal things. Like it goes through.
So I thought these were, so this is a rebar, you're right, there's two circles there as well. I believe this vertical line, this bent, and these two circles, these just represent rebar going this way. But I believe all of these are rebars, and I'm guessing they're all 15M thickness. Oh no, so here, 15M at 400 vertical, 10M at 300 horizontal, so there are horizontal ones in here as well. Now I'm just gonna go back here and see why it's fighting me on placing text. Sorry guys, volume. None of the created elements are visible in section 2 color. You may want to check the active view, its parameters and visibility settings. That's not good. Oh, there it is. I think it just wanted the drawing stretched a little bit more. Okay, so we have two of the same. I'm going to knock that out. I may want the text a little bit smaller, just so it's easier for us to navigate stuff. Wrong way, 1 to 10, maybe too much. 1 to 20, okay. So I have a line there. Let me just see if I can make it a fat line. That may make it a little bit easier to distinguish.
There is a medium one option.
Is there? Does it show up as such?
I don't know how to change it to that.
I think right here, so I changed mine to wide line, and it didn't do anything at first. It looked like this, but then I went up here and I turned thin lines off, and then it seems to give you a bit more differentiation. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
So we have that, and now kind of more of the same. I'm going to draw go back to annotate detail line, and here we're kind of eyeballing it. It's okay. The structural drawings will specify specifically where these lines must go, where these rebar must go, so we don't need to be perfectly accurate about it. We're kind of diagramming where they go in. We have two going horizontally. Typically, I think if you do rebar, you'd want it at least 2 inches embedded in the concrete. So if you wanted to be very detailed about this, we could make sure this is at least 50 millimeters in and 50 millimeters away from any edge. You want the rebar to be 2 inches. I believe it's 2 inches is the rule of thumb to make sure the concrete has a chance to grip it. And so here I'm going to grab a circle. That's a little bit big. Maybe I'll make it a bit smaller, 5 millimeter diameter, and I'll make it a wide line. Okay. mirror. We haven't used the mirror button, but I'm just gonna flip it to the other side. So I'm gonna use this button up here called mirror. Pick axis, and I'm gonna pick this center line as the axis, and it should have flipped it. There it is. Lots of angry sounds coming at me from this computer. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like they have at 300. Sorry, is it 300? Yeah, 300 meter horizontal. So copy somewhere here. Oh, I just drew it. I went to annotate, detail line, and I did a circle, and I just made it 5 millimeters in radius, because I believe the rebars are 15 millimeters wide, either 10 or 15 millimeters wide. So we're just representing it approximately. Okay. CO. Copy this guy. I'm going to move him 300 up. And 300 up again. And 300 up one more time. And then I can put in the second note, which says 150 foundation concrete wall, 15 at 400, 10 at 300. Annotate.
How big are you making the circles?
I just made them 5 millimeters in radius. No problem. I can walk around and give people a hand. Sorry, I kind of skipped ahead in mine, so if you get stuck on any part, just let me know and I'll head right over. Does that fix it?
That one place is very.
For this one, I just clicked it, and then I typed if you need to override the text on this dimension, so here I copied what it did in the drawing and it says 1200 minimum on that dimension line. What you can do is just say, you double click it. If you double click any dimension, it'll give you the option of use actual value with replace text with, and then you can write what you want. So all I did is double click the dimension, and I went to the second, I went from, instead of this, I went to this and I typed in what I wanted.
Not sure this is code correctly.
Yeah, you got it. I think if you have 4, you can be confident it's at least 3. Yeah, you're okay. But the note would be the thing that captures it more than that. Like the note would supersede the graphic in this case. So on site, if someone looked at it, it would be, let's say, well, they were closer together than 300. You would say, no, the note says 300 on center. All of that. Okay, in the interest of just staying on schedule here, I'm going to press a little bit further ahead. So we have some gravel hatching down here. Then we have our floor. And what do we have in our drawing? So we need to have a line for grade and do some hatching under the floor. They have their grade at 0, 0. So we will go to annotate. Detail line. I'm going to make it a wide line. The grade should always be a wide line. So there we go. And I'm just going to stretch my drawing a little bit to this direction. And now we need to do some hatching. So I think we can do that with the fill region. Just going to give that a try here. Wood, vertical, horizontal, diagonal, up. So I'm on my laptop. I don't have all of the options, but if you guys, can you let me know? I'll do this command again in case you didn't see how I did it. I went to annotate, region, fill region, and then I grabbed a rectangle because I need to define the region I want to fill. I'm just going to pick a layer here. And up here, it should let me pick what I want to put into there. Now, I don't have the gravel hatch, so I did diagonal lines down, which is not correct. But on your computer, I'm just wondering if you have it. Do you have gravel? No, you can see it. Okay. Edit. I didn't, I just have the diagonal hatch. So I'm just trying to modify it now. How did I get that? I think I know how to fix it, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna delete this and I'll do it one more time. So region, sorry, annotate, region, hit the little arrow, filled region. So far so good?
My drop downs are different than yours.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I think you logged in, you can press insert and then from the cloud you can download file.
You can, yes, but I saw another option where I didn't expect it to be, so I'm just gonna, are you okay? Did you find?
No, it's now stuck. Why do you feel the option? Just
Oh, no,
spell
you're
it.
not, it's not going here. Hit that. Oh, no, you're, okay. Annotate region, fill region, good. Rectangle, start there. Go somewhere. So I think I suspect there might be a few more options here. Let me give it a try. So filled region, rectangle. There we go. Edit type. And I think in here, they give us more, but I don't see oh, I do see, I see concrete. Come on, gravel.
Would sand be correct?
You may have to go with that. Why do they have gravel on the outside? Hold on. That's not supposed to be gravel. It's supposed to be earth. Okay, so what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna plug earth because I'm gonna make a decision, and I'm not gonna follow the drawing that they're showing us in one way. This out here should not be gravel unless you have that in your design. Most likely what they meant is earth. So we're gonna fill this part with the earth hatch. And later on, if we have time, we will come back and throw in a gravel hatch down here. But I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't put it there. We can always load that later on using the same method. So I'm going to go to earth, apply, OK, and hit the check mark, and I'll see what it gives me. Not bad. I may want to rotate it typically you would rotate it 45 degrees. So I'm just going to go back into here. Doesn't give me the option. Maybe it does. Edit. No. Orient to view. Import scale.
For the inside one, do we use the sand?
Sure, you can use sand.
Sand dense or just sand?
Sorry, sand dense or sand?
Yeah, there's two options for sand.
Either one is fine. Okay, so we have our earth in there. There will be a way, I'm not sure exactly where. Let me actually use the side menu to rotate it.
I changed one and it changed the other.
I'm not seeing it. Okay, so I'm going to leave my earth hatch the way it is now. This is a relatively minor issue that I think we can leave as is, and we can work it out later if there's time. So we have our earth hatch, and I'm going to add a few annotations. Oh no, we need a bit more detail here. So we need our filler, and then we need our J-bolt. So I'm going to zoom into here. This is where they want us to put a little filler foam ribbon. I'm going to go to annotate. The way we would draw that is literally just drawing a very small rectangle. There's not room for more detail in this scale of a drawing. So I'm going to go wide line. Somewhere in here, just draw a rectangle. That's it. And then I'm going to add a note indicating that it's filler. You could just type filler the way they did, or you could say foam separator. Separator. I'm not sure if I spelled that right. Okay, next, so here we get into the actual structure. So here we need to switch from the concrete footing to the wood structure above. And so it's a, you know, it doesn't seem like, it's not a complicated detail, but this is how you would switch from concrete to wood. You, in the concrete, when it's wet, you embed this thing called a J-bolt or an anchor bolt, people call it different things. It's a bent, long bolt, about that long, that sticks out of the concrete, exactly in the middle of the concrete, and at the top it has a thread for you to put a washer and bolt on. And so once that's hardened in, you take your 2x6 or whatever you have, in this case I believe it's 2x6, yeah, 140, and you drill a hole through the 2x6, you line up those holes exactly where those bolts are, which you, just the way to find it, you usually put the 2x6 over top of the bolts, and you whack it with a hammer everywhere there's a bolt, so it indents it from the bottom. And then you have a template where to drill, and then the holes perfectly line up. You sink it on that, and you put a big washer, so it grips it across a large area, and you tighten the bolt onto there. And now you have a very hard mounted piece of wood on top of the concrete. And now from wood to wood, it's easy. You can nail, screw, whatever you need. The only other way to connect the concrete would be through concrete screws like Tapcons, but that's a lot of work, and they're not quite as reliable. This is a much easier method of doing that. So anyway, just letting you know what we're drawing and why. So this will be the J-bolt.
How did you get those labels again?
Which ones?
Just the
Text on here.
Yeah.
So I go to annotate, text,
Okay.
and then there's a couple of options, and I pick usually the second one down here, 2 segment, it's kind of an elbow. Okay.
What if our wall is not aligned to this?
Okay, so we have our J-bolt. Before we draw our J-bolt, wrong keyboard, okay. Before we draw our J-bolt, I'm gonna go down to the top of the concrete footing and draw my 2x6 in sections. So I'm gonna say annotate detail line, rectangle, draw this guy, and now I'm gonna click it. I think I'm gonna go to thin lines here for a second. And I want this to be 38 millimeters up. And then I want to create an X on it to represent that it's a cut through. This is a section through that piece of lumber. Once I have that, I can draw the J-bolt. And I'm just gonna guess here, they come in all shapes and sizes. It's not, you don't have to be too precise, but I'm gonna start somewhere up here. Let's say 50 millimeters, that's a lot. 40 millimeters above the wood. And I'm gonna go down 250. 25 centimeter, sure, even 300 is okay, but 250 is fine. And then to the right or to the left, I'm gonna go 20. And I'll make this thing 10 thick. Okay, there's our J-bolt, and if I want, I can draw a nut on it. And I'm just gonna say it's about yay big. If you want, you can be precise and draw it symmetrically, but
Isn't that a little extra?
it could be extra. They do sort of show it, but you don't have to, right? Like this is a superficial detail. No one's gonna care. So you can literally just leave it as a bent line, done, and then we capture it in the note. That would actually be the most efficient way. If I was teaching a drafting class right now, I'm just not sure how much detail you guys need for your other teachers, for your structural teachers, but if this was an architectural drafting class, which is where we would be drawing this, I would not draw the nut. I would draw a bent line about 250, 300 millimeters down with a hook at the end, and then I would simply copy this note and we move on. I think I'm just going to switch to thin lines from now on because it's getting a bit busy with the thick lines. I'm not a fan of how that looks, and it's just going to get more busy. So for now I'm going to switch to thin lines, and I may leave it on that. Another note somewhere here. Continuous wall plate with 12 diameter cast-in anchors. Forget the symbol for diameter. I'm just going to do diameter, cast in anchors. If it gets too far, just hit enter and you can start a new line. At 800 on center, CC. Center to center. Anchor embedment length 400. Just a moment. length 400 typical. There, and I'll just pull this note up a little bit because it's getting in the way. Something like that. So to draw the anchor, I just went to a detail line and I just drew it as a hook. Like literally a line 300 millimeters down and then a line 50 millimeters or 25 to the left.
300 is very large.
Okay, so 250, or maybe it says, I wonder if it,
I feel like 300 is going down much farther than
it says 400, length 400 typical, but theirs is not 400 long, clearly. Just, yeah, I mean, it's literally a symbol, so it's okay. You can draw it any length you want, as long as this note is in place. This note is what they must refer to on site. Or, sorry, in terms of construction. Are we okay with these notes at the bottom? Okay. So now we get to the wall itself. I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit. We're done with the footing. And we need to throw a chunk of insulation in up to the bottom of the first joist. So I'm going to go back to my Revit drawing. And I have a window going through mine. So I think, does anyone else have a window in their section? Good. So to simplify it, I'm going to delete that. That makes our life a lot easier. But I do need, this is the bottom of our joist. And so here we're going to run into a little issue because on the drawing, the 2x6s stop here. Okay, they stop a little bit below the vertical pieces of wood. And then there's a horizontal piece of wood that goes across it called a top plate. Now in your drawing, I think they actually made a little mistake. Yeah. Okay, we're going to draw it the way it is in the drawing, but in real life I believe you would have a double plate up here. Top plate is usually 2 pieces, and the reason for that is because it sort of ties all of the vertical pieces together, but if you end up with these 2x6s don't come in infinite length. So you're going to at some point have 2 butt joints of a 2x6 that you cannot connect together. That's why you want an overlapping piece over top. So you want overlapping 2x6s at the top. So usually there's 2. I'm going to draw it just as 1. And then the joist, physically, in a post and lintel type of way, sits on top of the 2x6 wall. And it has 2 rim joists at the end. Those are those 2 big X's. So we need to draw that. But before, our drawing has other lines there, so we need to clear that out of the way first. So we need to basically go in here and say region, filled region, and now I'm going to draw a rectangle from here to the outer wall here. And I'm going to first align it. Align from here to here. Good. And then I should be able to fill this region. Hope. Oh, check mark. Okay. Not with soil, but with just a white fill. Just a moment. Solid fill, hit OK. Fill color white. That's what I want. But I also don't want an outline on it. I wonder if I can get rid of that. Fill background line weight. Can I switch to 0? No. Masking. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to figure out how to get rid of that line, so for now, we're gonna leave it. Sorry, someone had a question, over here. Yeah, the coverage, you will extend the joist much further. No, we can't. There was a good idea that once we have our masking region on, maybe we can just pull the joist back to where it's supposed to be. But I believe we already have it where it's supposed to be. The reason we can't see it is because there is a stud in front going all the way up in terms of what Revit thinks. So we have to basically override what it thinks. And in that case, we'll put a masked region on and draw inside of it. So I'm gonna go to annotate region, filled region. Align it to the bottom of the joist. No, that's not even working. Okay, so we have our stuff blocked out. We're going up to the top of our joist here. And so now underneath that, we need to do a 2x6 box with an X through it. I can draw that, or I can simply come down and copy what I have here. So I can click these lines while holding down Control. Okay, I hit copy, I pick a base point, and I move it under my joist. Right there. Now I need to do that twice more, so I'm going to go to Annotate, Detail Line. I'm going to draw a line from top to bottom. And make sure I space it 38 millimeters away from the edge. And I'll copy it. Actually, before I copy it, I'll put in the X. Now I'll copy these three lines. Move them 38 over again. And now I have that. on these two guys, this, I'm just gonna put in a little trapezoid rectangle, I'm not gonna do any detail on it, and then hit that note.
All that stuff is routing.
By the way, we are recording all this, so I'll put all of this on YouTube so you guys can view it again if you need to. Provide hurricane joist tie typical. Okay. Bless you. Okay, so we have the top of our wall now. We've defined that. And so now we can add in a little bit more detail. I'm going to throw in the insulation line for starters. And so the way I can do that is I come up here, I click insulation, and I just start at the top, center, go to the bottom center, hit escape, I click on the insulation, and then it should ask me for, oh boy, should say how thick do you want it. There it is. And I'm going to say give me 140, same width as the studs. I believe they threw in a dimension, annotate, aligned, somewhere in here they're showing 140, I think. Yeah, they show us the width of this wall. My snap isn't allowing me to do that, which is weird. I wonder if I can modify it after the fact. No. Okay. So I will have to figure out how to add that dimension later. I have a few things that I need to update, how to get rid of the line on our fill, how to add that dimension. So I will follow up with these little fixes, but
Switch to figuring out how to put beams for the sidewalls.
beams for the sidewalls.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, not beams, the studs and stuff.
Oh, the 3D modeling of the studs. Yes. Okay, actually we could. So to finish this drawing, it's more of the same. We're putting in more of these rectangles. As you can see, a couple more lines, couple of dimensions. Do you guys feel comfortable finishing this with the tools that I've demonstrated? Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna save this and we can move on to the studs.
Gotta place all of our windows and doors first.
Okay, so let's go to the 3D view. Okay, I'm gonna save what I have, and then I'm gonna save as another drawing. Save as project, because you can do your renderings or whatever you need off of this drawing.
Have you changed your directions?
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to switch to the main computer to do the lumber stuff because I don't have those parts loaded and I don't want to slow down to download them right now on my computer. So I'm going to switch to the school computer and I'll re-record the rest of this